Hi everyone, Manmeet Chowdhury from Optimum Performance Solutions. This week I'd like to talk to you about a topic that has come up a few times this week with my clients around the topic of making mistakes. And I really wanted to address this because so many of us go through life thinking that we've made mistakes. But in actuality, there is nothing like that because it's just a perception. Now you might be thinking, Manmeet, you're going a bit crazy. Well, let me start with some fundamentals so that you understand where I'm coming from. We all have a set of priorities in our life. You've heard me call this the GPS, sometimes known as value system. But it's from what's most important right down to what's least important that's operating in this hierarchy that is either sometimes conscious or unconscious to us. And we are making decisions always based on this. And it's navigating that throughout our life. So can our priorities change? Yes, of course. When circumstances change, when there is a shift in behavior, there is a priority change. You know, for example, when somebody might get married, somebody may die, maybe there's somebody that's born, there seems to be a priority shift. Becoming an entrepreneur, there's definitely a priority shift. So every time we make a decision or take an action, it is based on what we perceive is going to give us more benefit over drawback, more positive over negative, more gain over loss in our perception. So therefore, every time you have made a decision, in the moment that you made it, you perceived that that's what it was going to give you. Therefore, you did in your perception what you thought was right at the time. And when you made that decision, you based it on that priority system. And then what's happened is somewhere down the line, you've injected the priorities of other people and gone, I made a mistake. You've heard somewhere someone tell you you shouldn't have done that, and the moment you've shoulded on yourself from an injected priority thinking I shouldn't have done that, that's what you've done, is you've taken somebody else's priority system on a decision that you made based on your priority system and then made yourself wrong thinking you've made a mistake. When you make that decision, I want you to go to a moment where you perceive you've made a mistake. And sometimes you may hear yourself and you go, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I did that. The truth is you do. So if you go to that specific moment and you ask yourself, why did I do that? What did I gain from doing that? Now you might kid yourself and tell yourself a lie. I didn't gain anything, but just know that that's a lie and keep looking until you find the answer. Because if you answer this question, what was the benefit that I got from taking that action or making the decision? What did I gain? What would I have lost out on had I not taken that action or made that decision? And you will see that that so-called mistake is an act of perfection that you did in the moment, and it gave you just as many benefits as you perceive it gave you drawbacks, because now you're perceiving it to be a mistake. This is when your human will of what you think you should have done matches divine will. You see, what you did in the moment was divine will. You separate yourself from that the moment you think you shouldn't have done that. Anytime you perceive that you have shame around something that you have done or said or made a decision on, just ask that simple question and you will see the moment you ask yourself, why did I do that? What did I have to gain in that? What was the benefit to me? You will see that you made a decision, took an action based on your priority system, and there was no mistake. The one that I also had in addition to this was that you also have different priority systems, as I said, throughout your life. So sometimes in the present we think we are making a mistake or we have shame on ourselves for being a certain way because we're not living by our old priority system. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that you have a current priority system, let's say because you're married or you have children, and now you're living by that priority system. But before you got married and had children, your top priority was your business. So what happens currently, you think and you have shame in your perception because you're not paying as much attention to the business. You're not taking as much action in the business. but look at what your life is demonstrating. Your priority system, what you're demonstrating and displaying, is already being lived. By spending time with your children or in your marriage, in your relationship, you're not making a mistake. But what happens is your old priority system comes in, so you inject your old priority system and think, I'm making a mistake, and shame yourself for that. Give yourself the permission to live by a priority system that is true and honest in that moment to yourself. Be honest to yourself. What is important? And know that your decisions that you're making every single moment are based on what is going to give you more benefit over drawback, more positives over negatives, more gain over losses, based on your priority system in your perception. I hope this really helps you own the fact that you never make mistakes unless you inject the priorities of other individuals or priorities of your old self into your life. You never make mistakes.